Hello, and this is a very late reaction to this. I was on a field trip for my college uh, when this dropped, so I had to wait till I got back. And so here we are. I'm short on uploads. Sorry, been very busy with college. Semester's almost over, so I'll get back to uploading regularly. But let's watch this. I just need to upload something. So here we go. I haven't watched this, so I'm super excited. Hey buddy. Okay, sharing three creators is not cut for the creators. Compared to Nodcry, many of you already know quite a bit about Snezhnaya. For example, it is a nation of Cryo, stronghold of Fatui, and home to the headquarters of the Adventurers Guild. Especially during this year, the songbook, we believe, travels a worry sense that there are undercurrents lurking throughout the world of Tevat. I imagine you've already been very excited to set out our next destination. To be honest, when my colleagues asked me to record this program, I was a bit confused at first. Felt like Snezhnaya wasn't exactly any tough for most of you. Instead of calling this a special program, it's more of think of it more as a special program for the special program. Snezhnaya, this long-awaited new nation. What other topics can we share with our travelers? Snezhnaya, on the surface, feels like a straightforward continuation of our promised journey across 7 nations of Tevat. But in reality, your expectations don't move in a straight line. They're constantly evolving. And there's always an expectation for newer, more creative designs. So what we need to do is maintain the sense of familiarity and immersion that Genshin Impact provides, making the journey part of your life, while constantly exploring fresh and exciting ways to experience it. Yeah, I agree with those. On the journey to carry that emotional weight and keep creating meaningful moments. This may sound simple, but putting into practice involves a lot of trial and error. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't felt like the emotional feel. I don't know. It's been slowly degrading for me, and it's like that with every game. But I've stuck with Genshin, and I was hoping that would change. I don't know. Like, not only I wasn't into too much into the story, but a lot of the characters I really liked, and like the place I really liked. Nodcry, the place is meh. I'm not the biggest fan of Nodcry, visually speaking. I think it's cool in some sense, but I don't know. I just don't get the same vibe as I do with the rest of Genshin. Of wonder and stuff. Partly because it's so small, but I don't know. I think scenery in general isn't very mystical. And then Sura's well written for Nodcry. It just wasn't to my tastes. I liked it, but I just couldn't get attached to it like I could for like Fontaine or Inazuma or Sumeru even. I don't know. So, Nodcry has been kind of iffy for me. Like I can tell it's good, but it's just not my taste. And the Notlin, I liked everything but the actual storyline, which the storyline is like a big part of liking, you know, Nation. So, that's today. Let's talk about the ins and outs of the process. Yeah, I saw this YouTube short. This looks gorgeous. that looks absolutely amazing. In its earlier years, if we were to reach a sketch-out profile, Snezhnaya would likely have been portrayed as a rather sinister and highly threatening nation. But over the past 6 years, travelers have come to realize that Snezhnaya on its own path of defiance against fate. The thing is, that path often puts at odds with other forces across Tevat. You can say that among the 7 nations, Snezhnaya stands at the very forefront of the struggle against fate, most proactive and the most resolute of them all. To defy the heavenly principles and fate, a nation must have the strength to match its ambitions. Snezhnaya truly lives up to such a standard. For example, even the Fatui's reach extends all across the Tevat. Massive research facilities seen in Nodcry all point to Snezhnaya's formidable strength in industry and technology. But beyond some of these more familiar labs, Snezhnaya is also home to an ancient race. one that is powerful, mysterious, and steeped in history, the Fae. Companions from Nodcry, Flints, and Linnea are both members of this ancient lineage. Their origins can be traced all the way back to the ancient kingdom of Hyperborea. The rise and fall of that nation, and deeply intertwined with the heavenly principles, angels, and descenders. Touched on these parts of the story in earlier versions. You may find it from the hymns of the far north preserved by the Frostmoon Scions. Players have come jokingly, which players have come to jokingly refer to as Nod Cries before Sun and Moon. I never knew players called it that. Snezhnaya, and in Snezhnaya, factions we've just mentioned, that the ties between their past and futures be explored in even greater depth. Maybe we already know, ever since version 1.0, Snezhnaya has been pursuing a mysterious agenda, dispatching Fatui harbingers to various nations in search of the Gnosis. So as things stand now, aside from the Pyronosis, Snezhnaya have already obtained the other 6 Gnosis. And what's particularly interesting is that, as you all know, quite a few of the Archons, each for their own reasons, chose to hand over their Gnosis to Snezhnaya's envoys to what seemed like a very small cost. We've seen many travelers in the community actively discussing the motives behind these decisions. For these Archons, it feels as almost as though letting the Tsaritsa take their Gnosis is in some way a better choice for Teyvat as a whole. The reason behind that will be fully revealed over the course of Snezhnaya's chapter. What do you want to do with Snezhnaya? Core design principle of Genshin is strictly to balance between familiar and the fantastical. Instead of a one-to-one recreation of any real-world place, we take elements from different cultures, each with its own background, but still connected, and blend them into a world that feels natural and consistent. Snezhnaya is a land defined by its harsh, frigid climate. It takes inspirations from places like Eastern Europe and regions near the Arctic Circle. Here, people have carved out their homes from the ice and snow itself. It's a land shaped and carved out through flame and steel. As such, we've drawn upon the unique cultural traits of those real-world regions to bring its vision to life. Building on the foundation, and those real-world cultural elements, we've also layered in our own unique fantasy interpretation specific to Teyvat. For example, when we talk about the Snezhnaya as a snowland, viewers might think classic film Snowpiercer, or perhaps the famous game series Metro. Yeah, I've never heard of either of those personally. Those works really capture a kind of industrial aesthetic and cultural identity that's unique to frozen permafrost regions. So that got us thinking, could something like train carriages in Genshin Impact also become a form of cultural expression in their own right? For example, it could be used as a camp. They've been transformed to makeshift theaters. Similar to how Beijing 798 Art District was established within an abandoned factory. Or perhaps how the police station in Resident Evil was converted from a museum. The interplay between the cultural elements and the functional purposes create, in our view, a rather interesting design. Speaking of trains, in most games they are treated simply as vehicles. But on a map of this scale, what operating rules should they follow? What kind of gameplay can we fit inside these carriages? Or even better, can they be more than just a means of transportation? These are the questions we find ourselves exploring and debating throughout the game design. Back in 15, we introduced the Aquabus. Since these vessels are small in size and operate on fairly simple routes, we mainly focus on keeping the center of mass stable and handling basic steering. Trains are a different story. Multiple connected carriages forming a more complex structure. Both the geometric setup and motion simulation become significantly more challenging. In co-op, examining trickier state synchronization, character interaction, need much more careful design to maintain a strong, strong sense of realism. As trains be scheduled across different tracks, how they interact with the environment, as well as how we handle transitions between the interior and exterior. All these require a lot of systematic planning and in-depth. Of course, it comes to... You can always trust technical team in Genshin Impact. We've already worked through most of them. Beyond the visuals, we know the music is another aspect. Yes. Snezhnaya musical direction draws from classical symphonic traditions, including more solemn, weighty pieces that reflect a long history of struggle, as well as folk music found across Slavic cultures. In the past, our team of the Hoyo Mix have worked hard to bring styles like Baroque and classical music to life for travelers. As we head into Snezhnaya, Travelers may also hear grand, introspective, modernist compositions. It's so hard to freaking read. Inside romantic pieces that feel almost magical in their own sense of fantasy. Fun awaits in Snezhnaya. For Snezhnaya's gameplay, I think Aquaria probably has more to share on that. Actually, I've noticed something else. Looking back to how we presented the game over the years, we've always described it as an open-world adventure game. Though in reality, defining it as simply an open-world game is a bit limiting. What exactly does an open-world really mean? Is it just having a massive map, fast movement, and a ton of content to explore? Does that alone make a game open world? I think that's a bit too simplistic. The real appeal of Genshin is like how different gameplay systems, almost like modular pieces, layer together and interact, creating a richer experience. Whether it's freely exploring, battling monsters, or covering NPC stories, these simple, intuitive, yet deeply immersive experiences can be realized freely according to Genshin's travelers' needs. So I believe Genshin made Genshin so interesting. To define our gameplay philosophy in a single word, I'd say it's interaction. By keeping interactions as streamlined as possible and grounding them in clear, consistent rules, we're able to create a wide range of rich and engaging feedback. Here's a fun fact. The design of the elements of our action system and various movement mechanics were established long before our combat and numerical planning. From the very beginning, they were designed to support gameplay interaction. Form a set of modular, intuitive, easy to understand for players to engage with. For example, say I've got Pyro on hand. If I bring it contact water, will it create steam? If I try Dendril, will it catch on fire? Say there's a mountain, it doesn't look too high, so can we climb it? Once we reach, there's a bird's nest with a few eggs inside. Can I collect those eggs and use them for cooking? Through all these trials and experiments, travelers gradually build up a simple sense of joy, while naturally picking up the knowledge needed for the game's deeper mechanics. And these stages development, we spent over a year working hard to ensure this fundamental enjoyment as widely present as possible across the game's various systems. Even with ecology, culture, combat, and exploration alike. That's very interesting. The gameplay level, the depth and vibrancy of Genshin Impact's world are actually built upon these intricate, even trivial moments of fun. In many ways, atomized gameplay is a non-renewable resource. Once it's created, it's one less piece to discover. So in the 6th year, the room for design breakthroughs becomes increasingly limited, and demands on our conceptual design continue to grow. For example, what do we think of cryo? We can frame it around the idea of preservation. If it preserves energy, it can function like a kind of battery. It stores memories. It can become a medium for storing and reproducing information. Of course, our designer's imagination probably goes far beyond what I've just described. For instance, what if cryo were to steal away some kind of ancient forbidden power or concept and hide it from the world? And then the traveler finds a way to tap into these sealed forces to gain an advantage. Wait, I think I've said a bit too much. Anyway, in game design terms, the goal is to let players, through shared interaction patterns, produce a wide variety of outcomes from a unified set of mechanics. In their past journeys, most of the enemies travelers have encountered fought on their own, with little to no coordination between them. The Fatui of Snezhnaya and Genshin Impact are by design a highly organized militarized force. Combat style should reflect tactical coordination instead of watching each other's backs. We try to make enemy behavior more organized and disciplined. On this one hand, this adds more dynamism to combat. On the other hand, it opens up more interesting strategic counterplay by players. Utilizing elemental reactions and unique properties of each element have always been a core pillar of Genshin's gameplay. So as better as Snezhnaya, players can expect new ways to make use of the cryo element. Beyond simply triggering elemental reactions, we will shatter, destroy, even shape the battlefield terrain, influencing enemy movement paths. This means combat is no longer confined to interaction between player and monsters alone, but expands to dynamic interplay between characters, enemies, and the environment itself. Much of our design for Snezhnaya revolves around the theme of surpassing the rules. Okay. Okay, we're about halfway through. Well, yeah. More important roles of both exploration and story. On the other hand, it also reflects our team's ongoing efforts to explore beyond and push the current boundaries. Take the Traveler, for instance, as a descender. Whoa, okay. Experience a brand new gameplay from the game, you know it. Whoa, I like those outfits. Okay. What are your thoughts on Genshin turning 6? Many players may already see it as a long-running title, and it's natural for them to be drawn to the latest trends and newest releases. So while we're creating more content, we're also paying attention to what other players enjoy today, making sure the game continues to evolve alongside the modern gaming landscape. In the early years, we relied on relevant, simple talent designs with the character's identity, profession, and personality. By the time we reached Nodcry, we enabled characters much deeper ecological and cultural interaction with the world. And next we hit Snezhnaya, we aim to further expand characters' unique identity as expressed in gameplay. For example, this is a character's profession as a singer. In the actual gameplay, not to go beyond just watching her performance or experience her flashy combat abilities, we like to further explore whether there could be more playable ways to identify playable ways for that identity to come through in the game. We may allow the player to hear humming different melodies during gameplay. Seeing that many players care deeply about improvements to Genshin's visual and rendering quality. Thanks to steady upgrades in players' hardware over the years, we'll be introducing significant visual enhancements for upcoming characters. I still prefer... Oh, that's really nice. I'm super excited about that. More premium visual presentation. You'll experience truly noticeable leap in visual quality. I sure hope so. Some of our teams are... Wait, where am I? Am I still playing Genshin Impact? But at the same time, as a cell-shaded game, Genshin relies heavily on our artists, mainly tuning and, in many cases, hand-painting its lighting effects and textures. If we were blind to chase realism in other games, by rashly stacking up details and increasing resolution, visuals could easily become cultured and lose their sense of focus. More importantly, the warm, dreamlike atmosphere that defines the game would also be compromised. Yes, I agree. Moreover, aggressively pushing visual upgrades all at once could mean leaving behind players on low and even mid-range devices. That's something we aren't willing to do. After all, we don't believe technology should be pursued for its own sake, especially if it comes at the cost of experience of the majority of our players. Past cinematic presentation, gameplay, and Genshin Impact Quest were largely separate experiences. As a result, we could see improvements in cinematic quality, but it was difficult to fully experience in the same sense of dynamism throughout gameplay itself. For the past few years, we've been working to integrate cinematic storytelling and interactive gameplay. For example, this can already be seen in boss battles against Genshin in 4.5, as well as story-driven encounter with the Torre, and of course the leyline battle involving Varka and Luna 5. In the year being more cinematic experiences in these large-scale battles. Beyond that, we'll also standardize certain behaviors of NPC monsters across the world. For example, patrolling guards may dynamically join unexpected battles. In some cases, defeated enemies, even trigger or unlock hidden story content. Snezhnaya, you also obtain some kind of marvelous gadget. Like, this tool will grant players the ability to reshape parts of the world. It will allow these modifications to be shared with other players through certain features. What? I really learned to experience friends roam their own creative way. What the heck? Man, I'm so excited for Snezhnaya. There's so much, like, they're, like, teasing, but not actually, like, straight up saying. Future of Genshin. It's a big one. Anything about the question last year, too? Feels a bit strange, like I've asked myself the same thing before. But anyway, back to the point. Many players feel that by this point, after playing Genshin Impact for years, they're simply here to witness the conclusion in Snezhnaya. The word conclusion itself carries a sense of melancholy. It represents a player's recognition of everything we've created so far. Yet at the same time, it also feels like it seals away all future possibilities for the work. We all know the great story which the author of The Boar Princess, the creator of Similanka, Sanders' daughter, Minidurin's mother, simply known as M. His regret is the story I write has come to an end in the first place. For me, perhaps for our team, many travelers will Genshin Impact is no longer just a story, it becomes part of our lives. I agree, yeah. At least for me, I cannot imagine having that part of my life taken away from the world. So please rest assured, we will neither rush toward or a forced or inexplicable ending to the story, nor extend it purely for commercial reasons. We believe that this journey carries its own meaning in the past, present, and the future as well. As a product, evolution is ongoing and perhaps eternal challenge. To keep evolving, we spent the last few years actively engaged in discussion with many veteran game designers from around the world. In doing so, we found even the most classic games tend to face similar challenges at certain stages of development, and when those challenges arise, the solutions often require a very hands-on, deeply involved approach. Final Fantasy its narrative is exceptionally rich, so the team invested a significant effort to ensure even newcomers could quickly understand the story and get up to speed. Taking Training 2, highly intricate terrain. Personally, uses the map time and time again, guiding the team to refine it step by step so that it can fully support vehicle traversal. The end result is a more seamless experience where players can move naturally across a wide range of terrain without unnecessary friction. Some experienced players, for example, have chosen, when optimizing multi-platform performance, led the team to handcraft and find realistic environments such as snowy mountains and streams. Seeing examples like these, come to realize the path we're taking to evolving Genshin Impact is in many ways quite similar to that of the world's leading studios. And that realization gave us a renewed sense of confidence. Starting from Snezhnaya, you're going to see the evolution of Genshin Impact really start to escalate. This acceleration will fold at key moments in the future, as we did when the chapter first unlocked. Brought included some fresh perspectives for the industry. We were able to surprise the world back in 2020. In 5, 10, or even 20 years from now, we believe we'll be able to do the same. We've always believed that a truly moving work is never built on fleeting trends. Genshin Impact has come this far, and is thanks to the dedication and creativity of a team that continues to persevere, as well as companionship of millions of travelers across the world, defines a lasting IP. There's a high commitment to quality and content, high quality content, and consistent creation over time. Snezhnaya will work to uphold this philosophy, transforming bold ideas players can see, play, truly feel. Whew. Wowie. That was a lot. Okay. Nothing hidden. I would talk for a while, but it is late. I have class tomorrow. I just needed to get this out and uploaded. But I'm super excited for the continuation of Genshin. I'm super excited to see what is in store for the future. And I don't know. I think Genshin is a very important game for me. It's extremely important. It was kind of what brought me from just being, I guess, a casual gamer to a gamer, like a hardcore gamer. I don't know. I never fell in love with a game so fast before. It's really something quite magical. So I look forward to the continuation of the series and seeing what it has to offer. And I don't know. Hopefully I'll experience that magical feeling again, because it's been a while and I miss it. I miss Genshin a lot. I play it all the time, every day. It's just, I don't know. I just don't get that same feeling anymore that I did when I first started playing, or when I was playing through Fontaine or anything, or even when I first did Notlin. I don't know. It's just slowly faded for me. So hopefully that changes with Snezhnaya. I really hope so. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.